going to do a health check, there's a few things that are really important to have ready because the guinea pig wants to kind of get this over and done with quickly, so we need it to be nice and calm and relaxed. So things that you'll need in preparation are a small pair of nail clippers, a small set of curved scissors, and these would just be for any potential, if it's a long-haired guinea pig in particular, they might have a few little mats around the bottom. It's always worth to have a little bit of tasty forage because obviously some of the piggies are going to be a little bit worried, and the key to any guinea pig's heart is food. So you can use normal vegetables, but I always like to add in a little bit of grass or wild geranium or lemon balm, just as a little extra nice treat for them, and you can pop that in front of them for them to enjoy. So you'll also need to use a couple of towels. So ideally have one or two available. You'll want one that you're going to place on the table for the piggy to sit on. The other though, that sometimes some guinea pigs are going to be particularly nervous and frightened. You might need to have a little look at their teeth or in their ears. So having a towel to hand to wrap them up in is also suitable. So 2 towels is a really good idea. So forage, 2 towels, your nail clippers, the small ones, curved scissors, and then either some cotton wool or some damp tissue, in particular just with the males, when you were just checking their bottoms, they sometimes need a little clean, so it's worth having those to hand in with a little bowl of water as well. And then lastly, if you're doing a health check and you haven't done it for a couple of weeks, it's a really good idea to have a set of scales. We have obviously our larger scales here that are suitable for several small pets, but you can just use normal small kitchen scales and have a set of them to hand, because you never know when you're running your hands over the piggy that you might feel that they've lost a bit of weight. So it's a really good idea just to note down that weight and then redo it again if you are concerned. Okay, so as we mentioned, we want to use the towel for the piggies to sit on, because a lot of, either whether you're taking the piggies to the vet or you're just using a normal surface, it's quite slippery. So this towel just enables him to just sit nice and comfortably. So once you've got them on, just take a couple of minutes just for them to just relax a minute, whether they want to have a little look at their forage, and also just to talk to them in little quiet voices, just reassure them that it's okay, and that just calms them down for a second before you do the check. So what I like to do first of all is start from the nose and then work our way down. Just gonna have a little look at the nose and check that there's no nasal discharge around the nose, and that all looks nice and clean. We also just want to have a little look at his teeth as well. So we use these 2 fingers to lift up and this finger to lift down. And those teeth are really nice. They're a nice colour. They also actually line up nicely. Although the bottom teeth look like they're going underneath, when he's actually eating, they'll grind together really nicely. And we know that because the top ones look nice and flat. So that's a healthy guinea pig's looking mouth. Next, we want to have a little look at his ears. Guinea pigs can be quite prone to waxy, dirty ears, and also they can get sort of mites build up around here as well. So we'll just have a little look, and he's got a tiny bit of wax just built there, so we can just wipe that away. But what we'll do is, really we recommend guinea pigs to have a bath in some guinea pig friendly shampoo every couple of months. So we will probably give him a freshen up, and then we can wipe the ears at the same time. Now what we want to do is just check through around between his ears. Guinea pigs are very prone to lice. They do often start at the rump end, but you will start to see them when they've got quite a few lice. You will actually start to see them coming up near their head. Now you may well not be able to spot it, but I have seen, this is a fairly new guinea pig that's come in to us for rescue. And he has got lice, and they are like very small grains of rice, but they're an orange colour, and they're now currently wiggling around in the skin there. So just check the other ear as well, and that looks okay. So now we've looked at the ears, we know he's got lice up there, and he's most likely going to have them down here. So we now just want to walk down his body. He feels a really nice weight, not too heavy, not too light. If you have to kind of just feel for the ribs, which is a good sign. So they're not extruding, but at the same point, they're not, you know, hidden amongst too much weight. So he feels really lovely, but we will check him on the scale shortly. Now, one thing I've noticed is that this piggy has burrowing mites. And the easiest way to tell it, and the most telltale sign, is this V-shape dent in the coat here. And this is a typical area where they live right under the skin, and when the guinea pigs scratch and get irritated, that's where they're able to really scratch and also chew the fur. So this area is the most common area for seeing burrowing mites. So we've seen lice up here, definitely signs of burrowing mites. He has been scratching himself as well. He's got a couple of little marks there from scratching. And we'll just turn him over to have a little look underneath. Yeah, and he has also got lice eggs around his back legs as well. But so they are most common signs. So you will be able to see lice running if they've got them. You will be able to see fur mites, and these will be small black and white specks on the fur. And you'll see the signs of burrowing mites. Because of this piggy is going to need ivermectin through the vet team, or if it's your piggy at home, then you'll need to contact your guinea pig savvy vet, and they'll be able to help you out with a round of ivermectin. And then also what we also recommend is using Gorgeous Guineas products, and most guinea pig rescues now use this, and it's one of the only ones that we would recommend, because most shampoos and pet products that are sold in pet shops and online are really not very good for guinea pigs, and they don't tend to work, whereas these products are absolutely brilliant. So he will have ivermectin and a round of baths, obviously following the instructions and your vet support. Normally after about 3 weeks of the ivermectin drops, which we just drop into between the shoulder blades, again obviously follow instructions, then that will clear all life cycles of the parasite, and then they'll be nice and clean again. And then what we would recommend, even if we're not seeing any symptoms, is every 2 to 3 months giving them a nice bath in Gorgeous Guinea products, just to prevent them from getting parasites in a later stage. It's likely that the piggy may well have been on poor bedding and the parasites have been living in that, or he's come into contact with other piggies that have them as well. But generally, even though he's got the parasites, the ears look nice and clean, his eyes are really nice and bright, there's no signs of injury because they can be prone to grass seeds sticking in the eye. If you saw grass seeds sticking in the eye, you might not actually see the seed, but the eye might look a kind of bluey opaque colour. Don't panic, just get the piggy comfortable, get him some nice yummy foods, and get him along to your piggy vet as soon as you possibly can, and they'll get that checked over. And normally a few days of treatment and that cleans up nicely. But always check that the eyes should look nice and bright and clear. If they look kind of a dull colour, red, yellow or blue, then take them along to the vets. So we had a look back here, and obviously we've seen the signs of parasites, but we also just want to check back here because all guinea pigs have a grease gland. Not all males in particular have a very dirty one, and his isn't actually that bad. But you do want to check because sometimes it can get very greasy there, and you will need to just give it a really good clean during the bath, and potentially sometimes it can get matted. So that's when we may well need to use the little curved scissors just to trim this and keep air ventilating around there. If it gets really built up and you find a real big thick wad of grease there, then they can sometimes be prone to fungal conditions under there. So keeping this clean if it is a particularly greasy piggy is quite important. So we've checked him over on top, and as we've worked out, his nose is clear, there's no discharge. Also, just take a listen to make sure that you can't hear any kind of rutly bunged up noises. And his breathing sounds nice as well, because sometimes that can be a sign of a little breathing infection. So again, he may well need a veterinary check. But he appears okay, eyes clear and nice and bright. Ears are not that waxy and nice and clear as well. And obviously his teeth are fine. We know he's got parasites that are going to need treating. So now we're going to turn him over. Now with male guinea pigs, they actually need their bottom area cleaning in particular as they get a little bit older. So normally young piggies to about a year to 18 months actually generally don't need their bits cleaning, but normally once they hit around 2 to 3 years, they will need checking every few months just to see if they've got any build-up of discharge around there, and also they can sometimes get things like hay and things wrapped around their penis. So it's important just to have a little check. So it's not the most dignified thing for him, but it is important that we check. If it ends up building and getting quite unpleasant down there, they can be really prone to cystitis and stones. So keeping this area checked is important. So all around here, this is his testicles on either side, and then obviously penis is currently hidden away, and that is actually all nice and clean down there. But what we want to do is with your thumb and your finger down here, just keep pushing back with your thumb until it rolls all the way out. He's got a tiny bit of hair around there, but that is actually completely clean. Now, when it's got a little bit of discharge around there, it'll be a kind of a white creamy kind of colour. Use some of your cotton wool and water just to wipe that away regularly. If it does build up, you'll start to notice just by turning them over that this area will become very swollen. They can be prone to urine starting to dribble out there, and that's when you'll notice signs of cystitis. You might notice that the piggy will make just sudden noises when he's sitting in his cage, just suddenly will go, whoop! And that's normally a kind of a painful noise as the urine leaks. You might notice it kind of has this kind of swollen kind of bobbly appearance, and we actually kind of refer it to as looking like a bit of cauliflower. And if it has that appearance, that may be really sore. It might look quite red and even potentially bleeding a little bit. So it's really important, if you do see that your piggy's area when you turn him over looks like that he gets to a vet straight away and goes on to antibiotics and has that area cleaned properly. Once on top of it, then again you should be just cleaning male piggy's area sort of every couple of months, or just at least checking it every couple of months. If it's completely clean like that, that's all you need to do, literally. The other thing, unfortunately, some males can be prone to is impaction. Now again, currently his bottom looks fine, that's completely clear. But some males, in particular when they are have quite large testicles, they've perhaps been in a small accommodation, not moving around lots, they tend to lose the muscles around their sort of anus. And this basically, what happens is the poo will travel through their system as normal little kind of guinea pig sausage poos, but as it reaches the actual anus and it gets ready to be expelled, it gets stuck in there, and then it can build up as a large, big, smelly pooey ball, basically, but they're not able to push it out. So it is similar to constipation. If you don't manage it and don't clean it and check it daily, then it can potentially cause a lot of damage, and your guinea pig could potentially die from it not being cleaned. So if you notice that he has impaction, this area will look really quite wide. You'll see a big ball of poo in there, and all you literally do is just roll that area and the poo will come out. What you can do is up your hay, up your grass, and give him a bigger space, and this can sometimes improve if he's a young piggy and he's in early stages. Unfortunately, if a piggy is quite elderly and it has a large amount and has had plenty of access to hay, then it can be something that is quite a commitment and can need sometimes doing a couple of times a day. But it's so important that you do check regularly. Okay, so we've just changed piggies, and this little piggy is actually a female. So what we're going to do is just turn her over to have a little look at her bits as well. So as we said with the males, obviously we do actually need to check the penis regularly to make sure that it's not getting all sort of built up with discharge, because that can be prone to lead on to cystitis. Now, female guinea pigs are also prone to cystitis, so we want to just check this area and make sure it's not wet. If it's really damp, or you're seeing any little spots of blood, smells urine, or you heard that noise that I mentioned with the piggy where he kind of goes, All of those could be symptoms of early cystitis or stones. So she looks nice and dry around here. Now this is the typical appearance of a female guinea pig, and it's a capital Y shape, you'll notice. So that's how you can tell with the male, with a female. With a male, obviously, they've just got the line in the penis. So the female looks like a capital Y, and the male actually looks a bit like a lowercase I. She's relatively clean. She's got a slight little bit of marking around here, a little bit dry. So that could be a little bit of urine dribbling there. So we would just give that a little wash and just check in a day or so to make sure that it's nothing. It might just be that she sat in some damp area, but it looks quite clean. It's a nice healthy colour as well. She's also, obviously these are her teats. She may well have had piglets at some stage because they are actually a bit longer than average. Whether they have one piglet or 6, they will still always just feed generally on these 2 teats. They're quite healthy, but obviously they are a little bit longer, so I suspect she probably has had piglets at some stage. But what you do want to just check for any lumps and bumps around that area, which she feels fine, and that there's no open sores or anything as well. And also one thing I forgot to just mention with the male is also when you're holding them is just checking down the side for any lumps and bumps down here, because they can be prone to lumps, and they can also be prone to lumps on their rump, on their back end, which are often forms of cysts. And again, just if you feel any lumps and bumps, take them to your guinea pig friendly vet to be checked over. So we've checked his bottom, we've checked all over, and then lastly we need to check his feet and his claws. So when we're checking guinea pig's feet, we want to first of all make sure that they've got no pressure sores, which if they're kept on nice soft bedding and cleaned regularly, they really shouldn't be prone to anywhere. But this is a healthy looking guinea pig's feet on the bottom. It will sometimes kind of have that leathery look about it, that's completely normal. Now, his nails are obviously black, and that can sometimes be a bit scary, but there really is no need to be worried. This nail here in the middle is a really perfect example. You'll see that the nail is thick at the end, and then it starts to go thinner and pointier right at the very tip. So when we're going to clip them, if they're too long, you just want to take that new tip bit off at the tips, and then that will keep his nails at a perfect length. As we mentioned, pair of nail clippers. Now I use my finger to support here, and what we're going to do is literally just take the tips off like that. They're really not too long, these his nails at all. So as I mentioned, the thick, don't worry about whether they are black or clear nails. What you're looking for is the new thin pointy bit at the very bottom, and that's where you want to clip. But see, this nail in the middle is a really good example. So you can see it's thicker at the base and then thinner at the top. And what we're going to do, he's going to let me hopefully, thank you Piggy. I'm just going to take the tip off like that. And that's all you need to do. Just doing that every couple of months. Now he's got 3 on the back, and then he's got 4 on the front. And again, his nails are a really nice length at the moment. So if you notice they start just growing slightly, then you just want to take the tips off slightly. Now, if you do manage to actually cut his nail and you make it bleed a little bit, don't panic. All you want to do is get a little bit of cotton wool and damp cotton wool or tissue, and just hold pressure on there for a few seconds, and it will normally stop completely fine. Obviously, if you're really worried that it's bleeding a lot, then please contact your vet straight away. But in most cases, just taking the tips off there every month or so, and your piggy's nails will be perfect length. So lastly, we've obviously had a nice feel over him. He's got a really nice body shape to him, and obviously apart from the parasites, generally he's in good condition. So we will just weigh him though, just to demonstrate that. Now what you can do if you've got a guinea pig that is particularly nervous is just get a small flannel or cloth and place that on the scales, then zero it so they don't scrabble around, because most piggies will find this soft surface a little bit scary at first. So, but for me, this pig's generally calm, so we'll just take a few seconds. We'll turn it on first, wait for it to go 0. There we go. And then we're just going to place him on really slowly. Well done, Piggy. Just talk to him nice and calm. Just relax him for a second, and then you can lift your hands away. and that's a really nice weight actually for his size, and pretty much what I was expecting. So generally anything between about 850 to about 1,000, sort of 1,100 grams is about right for most male and female piggies. The females tend to be a little bit at the lower end, and the males a bit obviously higher, nearer the 1,000 grams. Anything below any of those, obviously they need checking. And when you are doing that feel, if you're really feeling and they feel right back here quite slender and you can feel the ribs, then there is a good chance that he's going to need checking. You might also notice weight loss if you're seeing that they're drinking a lot of water. You might notice that their poos in their accommodation are a little bit less, and that would be an indication of weight loss. And also when we had a look at those teeth, if you were concerned that he seemed a bit lightweight, that looking at the teeth as well will indicate as to whether there's a problem going on there. Now, lastly, I just want to mention is obviously we did the nail clipping with the male, just with me holding him. But if you are nervous about doing guinea pig's nails, then it's a really good idea to have someone hold the piggy exactly this position, which is comfortable with supporting her bottom and just keeping her head up here. And that gives me a little bit more strength in doing the nail clipping, so I can hold the foot nice and firmly. Now this piggy's obviously got clear nails, so you can see the pink bit, which is called the quick. That's the blood vessel. Her nails are actually a really perfect length, so we won't really need to clip them too much at all. But just for demonstration, I will do that one slightly. So we'll just get ready, and I'll work out where I'm going to go, and I'll just clip it there, okay? But they are, you don't want to do them any shorter than that. They are perfect length. And as I said, if you do make them bleed, don't panic. A little bit of cotton wool, hold the pressure on there for a few seconds, and generally that will stop it and she'll be completely fine. But yeah, her nails are a lovely condition. Her bottom area looks fine, and I can't feel any lumps and bumps on her teats and down her side as well. So she is a healthy looking piggy.